Having already covered the Catch Moon as well as the Tomb Finger, today it's finally time we dive deeper into the Rattleguts chamber. Hey guys, hello and welcome back. As always, my name is Laser and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on how to build your weapon. Not only when it comes to modding, but also when it comes to the actual gun components. That said, please keep in mind that my builds and guides take a new player-friendly approach, simply because there's a ton of information here and I want anybody watching to understand how the weapon functions and how it should be built. But in case you're a veteran and you already know most of this stuff, please bear with me. And with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. First thing I want to do is talk about options when building your kit gun, because there's a whole lot of talk with you built your kit gun wrong, you're supposed to do it this way or that way and so on and so forth. Now there is no wrong way to build a kit gun because, well, all of them function, but there are certain combinations which are a bit more popular than others, so that's what we're going to be talking about first. The chamber is not exactly negotiable, it's going to be Rattleguts. As for the grip, we're going to be talking about Haymaker and Lovetap. These are the two recommendations to you guys. I would stay away from the other two, but let's make one which I believe to be the standard build. This, from my point of view, is a standard build for any kit gun. Haymaker, Splat, and of course in our case, Rattleguts. Now let's have a quick look at that grip. If you right click in a situation such as this, a grip, then you're gonna be able to change the stats on the fly, so you don't have to remake it every single time, so you can get a good comparison. Now the trade-off between Lovetap and Haymaker is mostly damage for fire rate. That's going to be the trade-off. The magazine, the natural magazine of the chamber actually supports a high fire rate on this weapon. Take a look, you have 67 with the combination including Splat. So what do you want to do? You want to get a higher fire rate but drop about 30% worth of damage, because essentially that is the trade-off. You're looking at about 50% more fire rate at the cost of 30% worth of damage. Again, up to you. Neither of these two is a mistake. My personal option is still Haymaker. When it comes to the loader, the next option is pretty clear-cut and simple. Killstream is very popular currently together with Splat. What is the trade-off between these two? It's pretty simple. It's about magazine capacity and reload speed. Keep in mind that this will not affect your critical chance or your status chance. With either of the two, you're looking at 33% and 11% post-gilding process. But do you want a larger magazine or a faster reload? That's going to be the trade-off. It would be worth keeping in mind exactly what kind of arcanes do you have at your disposal. For example, maybe you don't have arcane precision because it's expensive, or you don't farm eidolons and you're too proud to spend plat on the trade chat. Well, in that case, if you have Arcane Awakening, which is a lot easier to farm and a lot cheaper as well, then I would go for a smaller magazine with a faster reload, since obviously that will synergize a whole lot better with Arcane Awakening. And with that said, guys, let's go to the simulacrum. Very well, let's have a look at how the weapon functions without any mods equipped, and I'm going to be spawning in some targets. When it comes to the Rattleguts, this is a pretty standard secondary weapon. It's a hit scan weapon, and the recoil, as you can see, is fairly small, the weapon being pretty accurate, and depending on how you build it, as you saw earlier, you're going to get a different magazine size and a different reload, as well as different fire rate. The two most popular combinations, which I kind of outlined there, will perform mostly similar in most tests, so bear that one in mind. Let's hop into stats to see exactly what we're dealing with. The mod capacity is gonna be 60 out of 60, and if your Rattleguts or Kitgun has only 30 out of 30, jump into actions and install the Auto King Catalyst. This will double your mod capacity. Auto King Catalyst can be found from alerts, invasions, or if you're lucky, from the daily sortie. And yes, I do say lucky because it's a very low chance to drop. Keep in mind that you cannot use an Auto King Catalyst before you guild your weapon. And when you guild your weapon, you're gonna be able to choose a polarity. My recommendation to you guys is to go for V or Madurai. Speaking of Forma, mine has been Format 4 times, but I do this only for testing. For the weapon build I'm recommending you guys, you can get away with something as a single Forma, actually, just 2 V symbols, more often than not, depending on your prime mods, will be enough. The accuracy is 20, as you saw there, it's accurate enough with a very high critical chance at 33% and a nice critical multiplier of 2.3x thanks to the Haymaker together with Splat combination. Fire rate, by default 3.67, is a tad sluggish. Once again, you do have the option of going for Lovetap. High magazine of 67 thanks to Splat, 1.7 seconds reload, and a Riven disposition of 3 out of 5. Now, this Riven disposition things should work like this. Depending on the weapon's popularity, the Riven disposition should be either high or low. Popular weapons should have low Riven disposition, and very unpopular weapons should have high Riven disposition, just so you can give those unpopular weapons a fighting chance at being competitive. It should work that way, and that's all I'm gonna say on that one. Status chance of 11%, as you can see, it is fairly low. The weapon looks a bit like the Axomati as the way it's kind of lined out, only that one is AC. It doesn't really matter that it's AC, it's just a visual thing. Impact, puncture, and slash, we have the whole shebang with a good amount of slash and a good amount of puncture. As you can see, the damage on the weapon is pretty balanced, and you also have default radiation, which means a default elemental combo. Treat it as a very last mod combination, somewhere around here. So if you want to increase the radiation, you're going to have to remake the elemental combo within the weapon. So let's start modding it, shall we? First things first, damage. I'm going to talk about Magnum Force for just a little bit. 165% extra damage. Hornet Strike offers you 220% extra damage, and this one also takes minus 55% of your accuracy. Now, once upon a time, this mod was completely garbage. Honestly, nobody would use it because it was bad, it cost a lot of endo to max out, etc, etc. It's still not very good on weapons such as the Rattlegut, simply because 9.5 accuracy will mean that your resulting multi-shot will go completely off the crosshairs. From my point of view, not really worth using. But if you want to use it just for close range shots, then it's going to be good enough. Next, multi-shot, the best thing on everything with barrel diffusion as well as lethal torrent, which will fix that sluggish fire rate to a certain degree. If you chose Lovetap, then you're gonna get an outstanding fire rate out of the weapon, and you can play it something like an Axomati, for example. Multi-shot, some of you guys still don't know what multi-shot is. That means that at a click of a button, you're firing multiple bullets. How many bullets? Depending on how much multi-shot you have on the weapon. How much do I got? 120% from barrel diffusion and 60%. Totaling 180%. That means that with each and every bullet coming out of the gun, I have a guaranteed second bullet and an 80% chance at a third one. This is the reason why currently multi-shot is practically one of the best stats, if not the best stat on most weapons. Grenade launchers actually can be a bit different, but more on that some other time. We got multi-shot, right? Critical chance and critical damage. It's gonna be the bread and butter of the weapon, and because not everybody has prime mods, we're gonna be using normal mods initially. Pistol Gambit with 120% critical chance, and of course Target Cracker with 60% critical damage. Now, if there ever comes a choice between getting Prime Pistol Gambit or Prime Target Cracker, first go for Prime Target Cracker. It will make a bigger difference than Prime Pistol Gambit. Next, let's talk about elemental damage, and elemental damage should be applied depending on your circumstance if you want to get the most out of the weapon. Now, I know that most of us are simply too lazy to change the mods on a weapon from mission to mission. Honestly, I don't do it that much either, but again, in theory, if you want the best results, you gotta know exactly what you're going up against, because, for example, the Grenier faction are heavily armored targets, and against Grenier you can build corrosive or radiation, you can build a whole lot of things, but the point is they have two armor types. Alloy, which is weak to radiation damage, 75% bonus damage, and ferrite, which is weak to corrosive damage, once again 75% bonus damage. That said, against Grenier, more often than not, your safest bet will be to build corrosive, which is the elemental combo between electricity and toxin. Why is that? Because of the status proc, which will be chumping away at the armor type. It doesn't really matter if it's alloy, if it's ferrite, it simply chumps away at armor on a status proc. So let's build some, shall we? 90s or 60s, this is such an old debate, but once again, depending on the level of content that you do. If you're going, I don't know, a couple of hours into a survival or a defense and you want to build corrosive, then the 60 mods 100%. But if you're doing your normal, average, everyday missions, then go straight for the 90 mods. Levels 40s, 50s, 60s, just go for the biggest wallop worth of damage that you can, just so you can get into one-shot territory. But again, for higher level content, go for 60s. Jolt, now this one is a bit of a pain. Can only be obtained from Battle Kit Tier, the Void Trader. No, it does not drop from anywhere else currently in Warframe. Battle brings this one every 2, 3, even 4, 5 months sometimes, so the prices on the trade chat can get to stupid amounts. 100 plat for a single mod. Is it worth it? No, but in the long run you will have to get this one for your secondary builds. Next we're gonna go to Toxin. A lot cheaper and a lot easier to obtain. This one is called Pistol Pestilence with 60% Toxin and 60% status chance. You can farm it from Corrupted Vor in the Void. If not from the trade chat, you're looking at about 10 plat on PC. I don't know you guys on console how much you have to pay, especially the guys on Switch. Very well, we got an elemental combo on the weapon. 762 corrosive, but I also got that 200% 200 radiation damage by default on the weapon. You also gotta keep in mind the IPS rules in Warframe. Impact, puncture, and slash, or the physical types, have a 4 times greater chance at proccing over elemental types such as corrosive. So here's a cool trick that I do just to understand exactly what is the stat proc priority. Visually multiply IPS times 4. So look at impact as 408 or 10, whatever it is, and so on and so forth. For the time being, the corrosive value is a-okay, but what you can do is go even further into corrosive to guarantee a better chance at proccing the elemental that you build on your weapon with something like electricity or maybe some toxin. It doesn't matter which of the two you will line up, again they will simply wash into the corrosive value. Now that is a way you can go, but here's another which I like more, and I know you guys like more as well. Hydraulic crosshairs. This is not an event only mod, it can be farmed from Lua spy missions. All you need is a limbo and I guarantee it's easy peasy. Link in the cards right now. In case you're not the farming type, then 5-10 plat from the trade chat. Another good option would be to go for more critical damage with sharpened bullets. Now, theoretically at least, on paper, sharpened bullets should provide a bigger DPS increase than hydraulic crosshairs, but the value of having every single bullet a crit is, from my point of view, a whole lot more important when it comes to actual gameplay, not just paper DPS. So this is the initial build I'm going to be recommending to you guys. And once again, don't have Jolt, go for Convulsion. So let's test this weapon out like this and see what it can do. 120 corrupted heavy gunner, this should be more than enough to test the weapon. Not bad, is it? Not bad, but I do feel the lack of that fire rate. If you were to go for Lovetap, of course, you will be killing your targets a whole lot faster, but then you might be forced into carrier together with ammo case. As you can see, the weapon can shred, there's no question about it, especially as long as you have your buff up from hydraulic crosshair. So all of your shots are critting the target. I'm applying plenty of status effects as well. We got puncture, we got corrosive, we got slash procs, basically the works. So as you can see, the weapon can shred through high level targets, and this is not an expensive build at all. But of course, maybe you have the resources at your disposal and you can go for prime mods, or maybe even get a nasty Riven. I got a nasty Riven, loaner from a friend, thank you very much, actually from a viewer. Cheers buddy, I appreciate it. So let's take a look. Instead of the hydraulic crosshairs, we went for a Rattleguts Kitgun with critical chance, multi-shot, and minus zoom. Now those values are pretty high because it's a +2 -1 combo. A Riven such as this will cost you a fair good chunk of plat, but you can get a Rattleguts Riven for as low as 50 plat from Riven Market, I believe I saw one. In any case, don't pay more than 100 for something like an unrolled one. Head on over to Kuva and try your luck. As a stat priority, I would prioritize multi-shot critical damage, critical chance above everything else, and a harmless negative, something like zoom or minus damage to infested or whatever you believe is negligible. When it comes to the arcanes, I would recommend you guys go for Pack Seeker. The value of this arcane cannot be overstated. However, if you went for something like the Lovetap and the increased fire rate and perhaps Killstream combo, then I would suggest you look into Pack's Charge, just so you can get away from the ammo issues and all whatnot. Keep in mind that going for such a combination and saying, hey, I'm gonna fix it with Pack's Charge isn't really fixing it. You are trading in Pack Seeker, which is a very powerful mod. So let's test the weapon out like this, and of course Prime Pistol Gambit and Prime Target Cracker. Same targets as before, and let's see what kind of a difference are we looking with Prime mods, and of course a pretty good Riven as well. Oh yeah, the weapon is a whole lot more powerful than before, and as you can see from the damage numbers, that's what you're trading in when you're not using Pack Seeker. And honestly, it's not that hard to get headshots with a weapon such as this. It's hit scan, it's really not all that difficult. Okay, the targets are standing still, fine. Well, unpause them when we do Warframe buffs. It's really not that hard. But again, it depends on probably on what platform are you playing and all whatnot. The weapon is immensely powerful, but again, that power comes from the Prime mods and the Rivens. Even with a standard build though, the weapon is fully capable of shredding high level targets. What we're gonna be doing next is bumping up everything with Warframe buffs because it's fun and I enjoy it. Let's check out Lady Mirage Prime. What you can use as an aura is Pistol Lamp, 27% extra damage to pistols. Bear in mind, this is an aura, so everybody in your party will be receiving this benefit, and it is stackable ×4. Against Grenier, however, corrosive projection is always the better idea. However, Pistol Lamp will grant its benefit regardless of your target. When it comes to arcanes, first option should be precision in my opinion. On headshot, 80% chance for plus 120% damage to pistols for 8 seconds. Arcane precision can be obtained from the third Eidolon down on Cetus. If not, you can pay roughly 100 plat for the R3. As for your second arcane, you can go for something like Arcane Velocity. This is a secondary arcane from the second Eidolon down on Cetus. On critical hit, which we do loads of, 60% chance for 80% fire rate to pistols for 6 seconds. Now, if you went for the Lovetap approach, then it's better to stack 2 precisions from my point of view, but for an approach such as this and the weapon being a tad more sluggish, 1 or even 2 Arcane Velocities will be better. For now, we're going to be testing precision out with Velocity. Same targets as before, only I'm going to be unpausing the AI, and I'm not using invincibility either. And we're going to activate Mirage's free ability for a massive damage increase as well as her clones. And the clones give me survivability. Now take a look. The damage from Pack Seeker is absolutely outstanding, and I didn't die either. Now, a build such as this for Mirage is fairly squishy, so bear that one in mind. That doesn't mean you're going to die just like that. The clones do draw a bit of fire rate from you. One more time, why the hell not? It is fun to see, isn't it? The weapon packs such a big punch. Look at the bolts from Pack Seeker, the amount of damage is just stupid. One-shotting level 120 corrupted heavy gunners. Just keep in mind, these are some pretty extreme Warframe buffs. And my friends, that's pretty much it for the Rattleguts review. I think it's pointless for me to tell you that this is a powerful weapon. You can see it is a fairly powerful weapon, and currently kitguns are kind of dominating when it comes to secondary weapons. Rattleguts, Catchmoon, and of course Tombfinger are absolutely fantastic. As for the gaze, well, it doesn't appear to be as powerful, but I'll talk more about that in the gaze review. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you got any feedback for me, by all means, leave it in the comment section down below. Also in the comment section down below, if you want to suggest a weapon review. Now, I can't honestly promise you that it will be done by next time or even within a week, because these things take a bit of time to make, but I will be reading through each and every comment. You can also find me on Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, all the usual places. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.